Hi everyone, welcome to this new tutorial where I'm gonna show how to create an alarm system with a radio frequency transmitter and receiver within a 2 meters range. Actually, it's not very, let's say, helpful tutorial as the distance between the receiver and the transmitter is not very high, but I don't know, it may be interesting for some of you. So actually, I got inspired for this tutorial thanks to this book that I introduced already previously in another video. And this book actually is well explaining how you can play with the receiver and the transmitter of Arduino radio frequency 433 megahertz, which look like this one. So you can acquire it on AliExpress for less than €1, and it's really nice. It's a nice piece of hardware. So yeah, let's say the first plan, which is a bit of a mess, is the receiver. So in my project, it's when the, let's say, transmitter is sending a signal, then actually the signal is interpreted by the receiver and then is making the buzzer here make a specific tone. Okay. And I have then another Arduino, and this is the one which is transmitting actually the information through the transmitter, which is here, and the transmitter is sending a data when the PIR is reacting. So a PIR is this component that you can see here. When it detects a movement, then it's sending a signal. So basically my project is doing the following thing: is I have this piece of software that you can see here. Okay, so you have, let's say, the transmitter, which is here, which is sending a signal to the receiver that you can find here and that you have here. And when the signal is received, then the buzzer is making a sound. So basically what I want is when a movement is detected, then I want a tone to be played. Okay. I'm not a developer, so what I'm going to show you today is very simple. So I'm just going to put it back here, okay, for my demo, and that's fine. Okay. So how it's going to work? Okay, so first of all, you need the wiring part. So it's very simple. Here you can see a lot of wires, but it's just because I needed the breadboard in order to make the connection. So we have our movement detector, which is here, which is composed of 3 different wires. So you have the ground, which is the black one that you can see here. You have the red one that you can see here, which is the VCC, and both are actually going back after to the 5 volt for the red one, and then to the ground for the black one. Then you have another one, which is the brown one, which is the one which is sending the data. So in my case, it's if a movement is detected, then I send a 1. If there is no movement, then it's a 0. Okay. The code in order to make the PIR sensor works can be found easily on adafruit.com. I just basically copy and paste the code that you can find here and adapted it a little bit. So that's, let's say, the part in order to make it works. The second part is actually the transmitter. Okay, so the one who's going to send the data if the movement is detected. Okay, in order to grab the piece of software in the code, let's say, in order to make this one work, all you need is to go on learningbyprojects.uk. So that's the source code which is coming from this book, and to download here the experiments. And from what I remembered, I think it's the experiment number 2, and it should be the second source code that you can download, which will actually send either a 0 or either a 1 to the transmitter. So that's the first thing. Then you have the second plan, which is even easier to understand. So you basically here have the receiver. So the receiver has 3 pins. One goes to the ground, one goes, so the orange one is going to the, oh, that's funny actually. So this plan is not good, right? This is reverse, so definitely, yeah, ground, VCC. No, actually this one is fine. So this one goes to the ground. Yeah, it goes to the ground. So black one goes to the ground, then the orange one goes to the 5 volt, and then the yellow goes to the 11. Okay, so once you have this, you just need to send as well data to the buzzer, and the buzzer, it goes on the 8, and then you have the ground which goes to the ground. So here it's a bit of a mess because actually this cable should be black, but anyway, it's gonna work. So now I'm gonna show you the code. So regarding the transmitter, this is what it looked like. So actually this part here, you will find here by copying and pasting the one from the source code that you can find here. Then you have the PIR sensor tester. So this one is directly taken out from Adafruit. So basically what I'm doing here is I include the library in order to send the radio frequency message. I declare that we're going to send the data through the pin number 12. And then we have the object, and then we have the constant that we want to send, which is a 1 when a movement is detected. Then we have the PIR sensor. So the PIR sensor is going to use actually the pin lane number 13 in order to show us when the message is sent. Then the PIR sensor data are going to be sent through the number 2. By default, the PIR sensor is low, so means that no electricity is passing. And the value which represents the status of the pin, which is going to change every time that it's fired and then disconnected and then fire again, is set as well by default to 0. So then here I'm saying actually that I'm gonna need to work with the pin for the LED. Then I'm gonna need as well, so that's the same stuff as above. I'm gonna need as well to send the data at the frequency of 2000 baud. I'm gonna use actually the serial monitor in order to listen what's going on 9600. And then what's gonna happen is if something is happening, then the LED is going to turn high, and then I'm going to send a message through the monitor in order to say that a movement has been detected, and then it's going to transmit the data, okay, through a function that I define, which is here, and my function is going to send 3 times the value 1 in order to say, okay, a movement has been detected, and interpret actually this byte in order to make the buzzer sound. So this is what actually this code is doing. Okay, so I already injected it within my project, so I'm not gonna use it and I mean upload it again. And then I have my second programs, which is here. So this one is within this Arduino. So it's telling, okay, I have a buzzer on the pin number 8. Then I'm going to use the library of the radio frequency. Then I'm going to use the pin number 11 in order to send the data. Then there is one data which is called byte B that I expect to receive. So this is the one which is sent by the transmitter. And then here what I'm going to say is by default, I will just display starting, and every time that I will receive the byte and that the byte has a value 1, then I will actually make some noise for 1 second, and then I will stop, and then I will make some noise again. Okay, so this is basically what's gonna happen. Okay, so in order to make this all work, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna plug those 2 guys, and we're gonna see what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna first plug this one up. Okay, the reason why I want to plug the transmitter first is that I don't want to receive any signal yet. Okay, so I just want to push some signals to wait a couple of seconds, and then I will actually use the receiver in order to make the sound. So I'm just going to put some electricity on this one. So basically, oops, just gonna do this. Okay. Okay, so now I have my first object which is connected. So it means that every time that a movement is going to be detected, it's going to send actually a signal straight away. And now I'm going to connect my receiver. And so if I plug it in, normally no sound should get out of the buzzer, right? Because no movement has been detected. As you can see now, there's some electricity on. So basically, actually, my two sensors, transmitters and the receiver, are far from, I don't know, 1 meter away. So now if it detects a movement, it's gonna make this buzzer sound. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna move the movement detector, and so yeah. So as you can see, if I move the sensor, I will hear actually a sound. So unfortunately for me, I realized that using the receptor and the transmitter without any antenna, without any aerials, actually you can just reach something like 50 centimeters, no more, of signal, which is almost nothing, and which is not allowing you to make a good project out of it, like detecting if someone is within a room or something like this. So the next step for me is either to put more energy within the transmitter and the receiver, either to actually add an antenna to those components in order for them to connect, to be connected and transmit the messages more than, I don't know, 5 meters to 10 meters away, and that's it. So yeah, through this tutorial, you basically see how you can make those two components communicate with each other with extra sensors such as the PIR sensor and such as the buzzer sensor. I really hope that this tutorial will be of any help for you. I'm really sorry for my accent, and really sorry that actually, as you can see, my plans are not very good. I'm not using freezing at the moment in order to make good plans. The code is quite of messy, but I will say at least it works. Thanks for watching.